1, 2, the cut down. We are going to talk about the new Alpha 1. The new Alpha 1 from Sony. Crazy stuff. The new Alpha 1 from Sony. We are talking about a 50 megapixel effective full frame hybrid mirrorless camera that can shoot burst modes of up to 30 frames a second. 30 frames a second in photo. Full frame oversampled 8.6K video, downsampled to 8K UHD 16:9 aspect ratio, up to 30 frames a second with 420 internal chroma subsampling and 10-bit internal color with H.265 compression technique and compression codec. Wow, that is nuts. That is nuts to me. And we're going to look about the tech specs, and I'm going to share my thoughts on it, because I ain't going to lie to you, there's some people here that were tripping about a certain part of it that it wasn't there. But this is the Sony Alpha 1, the one. Basically, I call this camera Neo. This camera is Neo, the one. This is Neo. This is Neo. This is Sony really showing that they've been unplugged from the Matrix. They're going to really do what they need to do. If the Canon R5 is Agent Smith, this is Neo. This is Neo. Yeah. What this Alpha 1 is doing is crazy. £6,500. It may seem expensive, but it's the same price of the 1DX Mark III, and it's doing a lot more on both sides. This is like the jack of all trades, and pretty much where it's the master of nearly all of them, but it masters a lot of stuff. This is crazy. This is crazy. I won't even have time to really break down and delve it, but I want to focus on it more on the video capabilities, from a video content creation capabilities point of view. I want to break it down, and we're going to look at the specifications, and we are going to look at what it can do in terms of capabilities, right? And what my thoughts on it, and where I think a lot of people are getting this wrong, because so many other cameras that are non-content creator cameras or YouTube cameras have been dubbed as great YouTube cameras. But I'm going to say this out front. For a camera that is not meant for content creation and not meant for YouTube and not meant for video as such, it's the most capable non-video camera you can buy. It's probably the best non-YouTube camera you can buy. Don't buy it for YouTube. For God's sake, the A7S III is the upper ceiling of what you should be using for a YouTube camera. Anyway, we need the A7 IV. That's another discussion for another day. But for if you're telling me I'm going to spend money, that amount, for a non-YouTube camera that's going to be best for YouTube, it's going to be this phone. It's not phone. It's going to be this camera, the Alpha 1. So we look at it, man, and it's crazy. It's crazy what it's able to do, man. It's a 4:3 aspect ratio, full frame, 35 million full frame. It's crazy, man. Look at the resolutions for the pictures, still images. Let's go to recording for movie. It's got the XAVCS, XAVCHS, which is obviously the H.265 compression technique that we've got on there. We've got H.264 that's in there as well as H.265. I'm not seeing an all-eye codec base that's in there, so XAVCS, but recording movie 8K, and this is in the H.265 compression technique, so 7680 by 4320, which is obviously on the 16:9 aspect ratio, 420 10-bit internal, 30p up to 30 frames per second, 400 megabits per second, 200 megabits per second, 24 frames a second, 400 megabits, 200 megabits, as well as what you have here. I know some people are going to say the bitrate is quite low, but the fact that they're using H.265 compression, my idea of it, because it's high efficiency video codec, HEVC, I think you're getting double the compression, or maybe 1.5 times the compression. Don't quote me, I've forgotten, but you're getting the same quality. So effectively, if you add at least 1.5 times the normal bitrate amount that you get for H.264, you're effectively looking at close to 800 megabits per second, which is good, more than good enough to really see the resolution of the data rate to the resolution amount, especially the fact that it's oversampling the image. Because remember, 8K on a 16:9 aspect ratio ultra wide is 33.3 megapixels, somewhere around there. So the fact that it's oversampling from 8.6K to 8K, you know, mixed with the bit rate, it's going to be more than enough. You are also getting 4K as well, full frame, 120 frames a second. You're getting it in 60 frames a second full frame using pixel binning. When it also goes down into Super 35 crop mode, you're oversampling from 5.8K down. And I want to drive this away of what makes this so much better, right? If you look at this, okay, so you do have all intro recording. So you've got all intro recording up to 600 megabits per second, all I codec, H.264, 422 10-bit internal, right? Cropped and uncropped. Uncropped is obviously going to be full frame with pixel binning. Cropped is going to be oversampled in the Super 35 mode, crop mode, APS-C, up to 600 megabits per second, right? All I codec as well. And you've got 16-bit RAW out of the HDMI 2.0 full-size port. And all these recording modes that you're seeing internally are unlimited. Unlimited recording internally, people. I really want to drive that away, man. I really want to drive that away. You're getting a full-size HDMI port. HDMI 2.0 port. Blackout free. Let's even forget the photo side of things for a minute, man. And I want to come back. I really want to drive this away. People losing their minds over the fact that I saw some people going in on the fact that there's no internal RAW recording. So long GOP, all I codec internally, when you're getting 10-bit, it's more than good enough. I know this recording internal RAW is so important for some people, but see the focus of what this camera is. Next is the flip screen. So are you telling me for the same 16, look, I'm not one to defend Sony. If anything, please call me a Fuji fanboy. I'm shooting on 2 Fujis. And when you use a Fuji has some form of weird draw in that makes you love their products, even with their imperfections. So call me a Fuji fanboy if anything, but please bring the same energy to the 1DX Mark III that has a fixed screen, whether you say it's purpose built for whatever it is, it has a fixed screen that can't even tilt, £6,500 in a DSLR body, not a DSLM body, right? And it's 20 megapixels. For how good that camera is, people justify that. But yet people are going crazy over the fact that for how big that camera is, it doesn't have a full HDMI port. Most of the shooting modes for video, the really advanced ones that you want to use, don't have autofocus enabled. People are okay with that. You've got a micro or mini HDMI port, and you don't have any form of unlimited recording internally. But yet people are gunning over this 6,500 price point. It does unlimited 8K recording for over an hour. Over an hour internally at the maximum bitrate. Unlimited 4K 120 recording, 4K 60. Come on. Unlimited. That's the definition of a proper video camera. Not that silly 29 minute, 39 minute recording limit. Unlimited recording internally. Fine, it doesn't have a flip screen. What other mirrorless camera within its price range has a full-size HDMI 2.1 port? People don't want to emphasize that. Not 2.0, 2.1 port. That's how it's able to do the 16-bit RAW output. It can do 4K 120 output via the HDMI. We don't even have, as advanced as the Atomos Ninja V is, we don't even have recorders that have HDMI 2.0 port internal and output that can take advantage of this camera. This camera is so future compatible, yeah, we don't have recorders that take advantage of it. Yeah, people are complaining because it doesn't have a flip screen. Don't get me wrong, I've said it. It is a low-key missed opportunity, not just for videographers, but for photographers. But I think having a flip screen, I would have preferred them to copy what Panasonic did with the Lumix S1H. If anyone's seen it, the S1H has the best rear LCD screen mechanism on any mirrorless hybrid camera. People just need to start copying Panasonic when it comes to body ergonomics and design. They're one of the best at it, and I hold that, you see. But you can't go crazy on me and be telling me that how our Sony, bro, Sony's been putting flip screens on the A6400, A6100, A6600, A7C, A7S III. And people are flipping out because they don't have a flip screen on that as the main downside, and you're comparing it to the R5. Don't get me wrong, the R5 really does look like good value now because it shoots internal RAW and whatnot, but just because it has a flip screen, you have a micro HDMI port, no unlimited recording, poor overheating, poor recovery times. There's a lot of stuff that's missing on there that causes a lot of problems to the user experience of the R5. But it's still a very good camera, but you can't then compare, you can't just glance over just the fact that on a spec sheet it's doing a lot, but the usability is so deteriorated to the user experience that you're gonna say, oh, now that compared to the 1DX, this isn't worth it. Look at what it's doing alone on the photography side. Look what it's doing alone when it comes to the media compatibility with using dual UHS-II SD card slots with the compatible upgrade to CF Express Type A that shoots up to 1000 megabytes per second read and write speeds. Come on. What Sony are doing they're really showing that their technology has more than not just evolved and matured. It's now just at a point where the platform of how they're going to scale it down, it's going to be incredible. So we are waiting for the A7 IV to really put the R6 to bed. And for someone that's an APS-C fan, I really hope Sony, please don't forget about APS-C. You know, you could really shake up what Fuji are doing. Fuji are pretty much the only ones that do a pro body APS-C camera. That's one of the reasons why I use them. Great value, but you're getting so much more performance out of it because you've got the smaller sensor to work with, so the technology in there can really push forward. Wow, with what Sony are really pushing for this one, wow. You know, yes, there's some caveats to the 30 frames a second burst shooting in photo. You have to make sure you're using the right G master lenses that have the new quad linear focusing systems to really get up to that. The third-party lenses struggle. That's from the photography point of view. But if you're telling me I'm going to spend silly money on a non-YouTube or non-video based camera, I'm going to spend it on this. This is doing better video than their cinema camera. And it's internal recording. You get the fastest media possible with the CF Express. You're getting internal animated recording on all the shooting modes. Where you can get full 422, you're getting full 222, but you're getting full 10-bit across the board all the way up to 8K, and it's oversampled. And people that have done the test on it, even the pixel bin modes are matching the detail and the level that you're getting with the A7S III. If not, probably better dynamic range. How they're able to do that is crazy. This sensor and the technology that they've got in there, people need to recognize it. You can't then, if the A7 IV came out without a flip screen, yeah, go to town, get angry. At that price point, it should be there, even if it's a photography based camera. But this is a pro level photography based camera that does really high resolution, but most high resolution stills are not really accompanied with fast frame rate takes. This is the first of its kind. It's crazy. It's crazy to the point where you might not even see mechanical shutters in future mirrorless cameras. It's going to be purely electronic and silent shutter based. That's crazy, with probably haptic feedback in there to give you that vibration mode. And we know how advanced haptic feedback with what companies like Apple have been doing really does to the user experience. So yo, I want the Alpha 1 for no reason. I don't need it, but I want it for no reason. For a non-YouTube and a non-video based camera on a hybrid system, it's the best one out of all of them. So for all the people that praise the 1DX Mark II and the 1DX Mark III and all these cameras that have all these weird recovery times, autofocus not working, that not working, this missing, poor port selection, this and that, you can't praise those cameras and not say that this is not the best non-video based, non-content creation based camera out of the lot. As much as I appreciate a fully articulating, very angled display to see myself like I have with my X-T4 right here, right? Where the ports are located with how things get blocked and micro HDMI and this, trust me, I'll take a full-size HDMI 2.1 port for that future compatibility. I use external monitors, and even if I didn't, I'll take it anyway because the autofocus is so great. I'll trust it even if I can't see myself. And the auto exposure and how it steps up with the aperture, exposure compensation, and you know, ISO is so smooth and autofocus is so on point. Flip screen or not, man, people were making it out to be like the 1DX Mark II and the 1DX Mark III were the greatest vlogging cameras, and you couldn't see yourself. How are you not going to tell me this ain't going to be better than them? And you got unlimited recording. That's kind of my quick fire thoughts on the A1 and why I think people are so wrong when it comes to it. The only thing I want to be making sure that the development of things like external raw recording with ProRes RAW gets sped up to the point where the full capabilities of things like auto white balance or white balance adjustments, ISO adjustments, the full raw capabilities that you get from things like, you know, Blackmagic RAW, Red Code RAW, you know, and the compatibility across all nonlinear editing systems, even something as simple as LumaFusion to be able to support that. They just need to work on that. But for now, what they've been able to produce, boy, phenomenal. And those are my quick fire thoughts on the Sony Alpha 1.